Hey guys, it's Tori, and today I'm going to be discussing my NEWTs TBR. So, as many of you know who have been doing the magical readathon, G from Book Roast, who usually hosts it, this is going to be the last one that's Harry Potter themed. They're technically called the Magical Readathon overall. And for those who don't know, this is kind of a two-part readathon. So in April, they have the Owls, which is the first test you take at Hogwarts in your 5th year. And then in August, we have the NEWTs, which is the 7th year test at Hogwarts. So due to recent events, G from Book Roast has decided not to host it as a Harry Potter themed readathon anymore. She will continue to do a magical readathon. She's just going to change it to make it more her own. And I'm sad about it, but I understand where she's coming from due to, again, recent events that Harry Potter fans likely already know about. But she decided to at least have prompts for this August for one last round, just for those who would like to complete their career challenges, and I really would like to, so I'm doing it. So the career I chose back technically in May when I did this, because I wasn't able to do it in April, was a Potioneer, and I have my little booklet binder that I have all my career options in, and there are 7 prompts that I have to fulfill for the NEWTs in order to accomplish this. So basically how it works, for those that don't know, is for the Owls, each class that you can take at Hogwarts has a different prompt, and for each career you have certain classes you need to take. Then for NEWTs, to make it harder, there are 3 passing grades for each class, an A, an E, and an O, and depending on what grade you need for your career in that class, you have to do a certain number of prompts. So for example, one of my classes is potions, obviously, and I have to get an O, the top grade in that class, which means I have to do all 3 prompts. So I have to do the prompt for an A grade, the prompt for an E grade, and the prompt for an O grade in that order in order to get the O. If that makes sense, it'll become clearer as we go along. But anyway, so let's just get right into the TBR. So again, my first class is potions, and I need an O for that. So the first prompt I need to fulfill for that is ingredient flying seahorse book with word sky in the title or a sky on the cover. For this, I'm going with sky on the cover, and I am going to be reading Edith and Frome by Edith Wharton. This is a very, very short book, so perfect for a readathon, and I am really excited to read this. I've heard it compared to Wuthering Heights, just in the frame narrative of it, and a lot of the atmosphere is very similar. I don't know much about it. I know that we start off with this person going to the small town in New England area in America and meeting a lot of the people there and finding out a lot about the history of this town and people in this town. And there's a man who has a really struggling marriage, and that's all I know. I read a book by Edith Wharton earlier this year, The Age of Innocence, which I absolutely adored, so I'm excited to read more by her, and I hope I enjoy it. My second prompt for potions is to read a book by an author whose name starts with D. I'm not sure if she wanted last name or first name for this, so I went with last name since that's how you organize, like in the library. Alphabetically, you go by author last name, and for that I'm going with The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Technically, I'll just be finishing this. For those who have watched my videos in the past, you know recently I've been working my way through this, and I finally just want to finish it, and I'm just taking, every time I do a readathon since I started this, I'm finding every opportunity to include this in the readathon so it can count for something. But I would really like to finish this in August. I am over halfway done, so I think it will be very doable. Basically, for those who don't know, this follows a young man who, when he's young, his life's on the up and up. He ends up being arrested and thrown in jail. Unjustly, he's betrayed by close friends and ends up in jail, and so he seeks out vengeance against these men who betrayed him, and it's a really, really fun story. Very long, but very good. And the last prompt for potions is to read a book that's over 450 pages for a girding potion. And for that, I'm going to be reading the 3rd Dragonwatch book, Master of the Phantom Isle by Brandon Mull. This is a middle grade that also counts for one of my Bookopoly TBR prompts for this 2-month span. And it is a spin-off series from Fablehaven, which is a childhood favorite of mine, following these 2 kids who end up discovering magic within our world. And this has been such a great read. The only reason I haven't gotten to this 3rd one yet, which I read the first 2 earlier this year, is simply because it has a trope in it, or a plot device that comes into play at the end of the second one that really stresses me out. Like, I enjoy it and it's okay, but there's just something about it that stresses me out to read. So I've been a little unsure about reading it, but we're just gonna do it. And I'm excited really to get to it. It's just a little intimidating. Next, I need an E in herbology, and for this I have to first of all read a book with flowers on the cover for puffapods, and for this I'm going with The Wars of the Roses by Conn Iggulden, Stormbird, the first in the trilogy. This also goes with my Bookopoly prompt to read a book with bird on the cover or in the title, so Stormbird works for that. Originally I was going to read Bear and the Nightingale for that prompt, but this just works better between the NEWTs and that. Anyway, so this is exactly what it sounds like. It is a trilogy following the Wars of the Roses, starting off with Henry VI ascending the throne and going on from there. I'm really excited to read this. I haven't ever read a historical fiction about the Wars of the Roses, even though it's a time period that I have a lot of interest in and I've studied a lot of characters from. I just have yet to read a historical fiction about it. So it's time, and I've heard good things about this trilogy, so I'm really excited to pick it up. And then for my second prompt for herbology, I have to read a book that might be impactful based on the nettle plant, and for that I'm going with another book that I technically have started, similar to the Count of Monte Cristo, but I'm going to finish it this month, and that is Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. This is a humongous book. I say that every time I talk about it, but it seriously is so big, and usually the books this big I listen to on audiobook, but since I already have Count of Monte Cristo, have to read this physically. So been very interesting, but I am really enjoying it so far, and I definitely will finish it in August. In fact, I kind of have to, because I'm reading it for the sake of a scholarship I want to apply for, and that application is due in September. So anyway, we're going to finish this and hopefully enjoy the rest of it. I've really liked it so far. There's things about it that I don't love so much, but for the most part, I appreciate a lot of the points it's making. So next I need an A in arithmancy, and the prompt for this one is based on being precise, so to read a nonfiction, and I'm choosing a nonfiction that has been on my shelf for a few years, and it's just time I read it. I'll probably listen to the audiobook for it once I finish Count of Monte Cristo, and that is The Rival Queens by Nancy Goldstone. This is the story of Catherine de Medici and her daughter Marguerite de Valois, and I know very little about these two women. The only thing I know about Catherine de Medici is what I've seen in Rain, so take that as you will, but I wanted to learn more about her and found this book. It has good ratings, so I thought I'd pick it up, and we'll see if these are figures that I will continue to want to learn about in the future, or if this will be enough for me. We'll see. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but once again my brother's playing piano, and yes, though I'm outside, I'm on the side of the house where the piano is, and you can still hear it. So I apologize for that, but it should be quite enough that it's not a big deal. Anyway, my last class is Care of Magical Creatures, and this one I also need only an A in, so one prompt. And the prompt for this is Salamander, read a book with fire on the cover or in the title, and this was really hard to find. I literally could only find 2 books on my physical TBR that would work for this, and one of them is a reread I want to do this year. So anyway, that's not the one I'm doing though. I decided to go with Spellbook of the Lost and Found by Moira Fowley-Doyle, and as you can see, the book's on fire. Maybe you can't, but it is, so there's fire there. And this, all I know about it is that things in this town start going missing under mysterious circumstances, and there are witches involved. So hopefully I'll enjoy it. I don't expect it to be a new favorite or anything, but I think it'll be a fun paranormal read, which I don't read a lot of, so should be fun. And that is it. Those are all the books I need to read for the month of August for my NEWTs. Honestly, I am sad that it's no longer Harry Potter themed after this, and that this is the last one, but I do understand why she's making the change, and I'm excited to see what she does, as she's so creative. I'm sure it's going to be fun. I will also link down below her announcement for the prompts video in case you are interested in doing the NEWTs. Even if you didn't do the owls, like, nobody's going to come after you if you just decide to do the NEWTs. So if you want to do this last hurrah for the NEWTs Magical Readathon, definitely give it a shot. Yeah, that will do it. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you made it to the end of this video, as well as comment down below any of the books you're reading in August, or if you're participating in the NEWTs and what your career is, as I would love to know, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!